Hi everyone. After doing that Star Wars post last week, I wanted to do something a little bit easier. So I'm just gonna go through my answers for the Star Wars challenge here and go into more detail. If you follow me on social media, you've probably already seen my answers to this, but I'm gonna give like why I chose each answer. So let's get started. So number one, favorite trilogy. This one had to be the original. Um, it's the most consistent the whole way through. Each one of the three is really good, and it's nearly flawless. Number two, favorite couple. Um, I took one outside of the films. I chose Revan and Bastila from the Knights of the Old Republic games. I thought that the way they're written is really good, and like getting to play through that relationship, watching it grow throughout what is a pretty long game, um, was very interesting and fun. But if I had to choose one from the films, it would have to be Han and Leia. I don't think the films do romance that well, though. It's not really their main thing. Um, my favorite character from the original trilogy is it's between Han Solo and Boba Fett. I went with Han Solo because I think he's written better. He's more of an actual character, whereas Boba Fett just looks cool. And in external uh, media, other forms, he's been expanded more. But in just the original trilogy, he just kind of looks cool, kind of stands up to Darth Vader, I guess. But that's about all we get from him. Uh, favorite character from the prequels? For me, it was between Obi-Wan and Palpatine. I chose Palpatine because he heightens the films by watching it as his story. It makes all the prequels better. But Obi-Wan, I think, is like the most interesting character as well. Um, if I had to choose a character exclusively from the prequels, it would be Qui-Gon Jinn. Favorite character from the sequels? I chose Luke. He's not really in all three that much, but his arc in The Last Jedi I really like. You can see that in my previous post. Um, but if I had to choose one exclusively from the sequels, it would have to be Kylo Ren slash Ben Solo. Favorite trio? This has to be the original. Luke, Han, and Leia. They're awesome. They change the way storytelling is done. They're each like a trope that have been reused in other media since, but they were kind of like the perfected forms of those. Like Luke is the hero's journey, Han is a real Han Solo type, and Leia is like the first like badass woman that a lot of people look up to. Um, favorite friendship: C-3PO and R2-D2. Had to be them. I put on my post. I put a quote from C-3PO at the end of The Last Jedi where he calls R2-D2 such a friend. They're in the entire series. They're who we start with. They're really good. But it wouldn't be wrong to choose Han and Chewie either because they're awesome. Favorite droid? I was going to say R2-D2, but then I remembered I could go with HK-47 from Knights of the Old Republic. He's a lot of fun. He's like the main source of comedy in that game, at both those games. And like I love the way that he's like a psychotic murderer droid, and he just like has no remorse. I've always liked how Star Wars has the robots having the biggest personalities of any character. Uh, who would my Jedi Master be? I chose Kit Fisto in my post. He's kind of like the Jamaican alien. He seems really chill. But I have actually thought of another one since I made that original post, and that'd be Kyle Katarn from the Jedi Knight games. He's kind of like in the gray area. He doesn't mind like using a blaster if he has to instead of his lightsaber. just like I think he would be a good Jedi Master to like show more facets of the Force than just like the Jedi side of things. Favorite lightsaber color? Green is my favorite color in general, so I went with that. But I do like other like more interesting colors. Like I liked Rey's yellow or orange one at the end. Um, and I like Mace Windu's purple one. And I think it would be really cool to see a teal one. But yeah, green in general would be my choice. Light or dark side? I would normally say gray, but given the choice between light or dark, I'd go with light. I'm not uh, hot tempered enough to be dark side. Overrated character? This one's tough because I generally like every character. Um, so I went with Galen Merrick from the Force Unleashed games. A lot of people really like him, and I wasn't that into him. I don't mind the games; they're fine, they're fun. But his character felt like they were trying too hard to make like an edgy character. Uh, Underrated character. I chose Firmus Piet. He is one of the Imperial officers that's in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. He's kind of like the ideal Imperial officer. He's ambitious, so he like moves up the ranks, but he doesn't really step out of line, so he doesn't get choked to death by Darth Vader. He's kind of like Tarkin Light. Favorite ship? There's a lot of them, and like normally I'd go with the Millennium Falcon, but I decided to be a little more interesting with it, so I took like offshoots of the Millennium Falcon, and I didn't really choose either one of these. I chose two. I said the Outrider, which is from the Shadows of the Empire series. It's Dash Rendar's ship, which is kind of just a newer model of the Millennium Falcon. Um, and then I also said the Ebon Hawk, which is from the Knights of the Old Republic game, and it kind of looks like it might have been like a like really old model of the Millennium Falcon. And I'd give an honorable mention to Lando's ship Lady Luck. It's kind of like just a space yacht. Seems perfect for his character. It's pretty great. Saddest death. There's a lot to choose from, and like if I could, I would say Carrie Fisher, but that's real life, not Star Wars. So I guess I'd choose Han Solo then, because even though it was predictable, like I could see it coming, it still hits pretty hard. Favorite cast member? I like all of them. If I had to choose one from each of the different trilogies, I would say like. So in the end, I chose Ewan McGregor, and he's from be my choice from the prequels. Mark Hamill from the originals, and then Oscar Isaac from the new ones. But yeah, I ended up going with Ewan McGregor. I've really liked his career outside of the films, the Star Wars films. He's in my favorite film of all time with Big Fish. But overall, like yeah, all of the cast is generally really good. And that's all the questions. So I'd love to hear what other people's choices would be for this. It's always interesting to hear other people's thoughts on Star Wars. It's one of my favorite topics. So put your choices in the comments down below. Let's start a discussion about this. Thanks for watching.